Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marisol and today's class is going to be an at-home Pilates mat class for beginners using a blanket. Now my blanket is a little bit thicker, so I have it folded up and I have it rolled up nice and tight so it stays fluffy, but you can definitely use a folded up bed pillow or just anything that will give you that extra little cushion for certain exercises. Now, if you absolutely do not have any of these items, please don't worry, you can do the class without them. It's just to give your body a little bit of feedback and support. Now, I do also want to mention that I offer live classes that are full-length classes, so if you're interested in joining me, I do have free donation-based classes that you can jump into. Go ahead and look at the description box down below and it'll have all that information. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with your workout. Okie doke. So first, we're just gonna have our blanket handy, but we're gonna start with our knees bent, hands behind the legs, seated, facing forward. We're just going to start with our breath work first before we get our body moving. So if this position doesn't feel right, you want to extend your legs, that's fine as well. Take a big inhale, lift the chest up, shoulders are back and down. We're lifting the chest up to the ceiling, and exhale, pull the waist back, create a C curve with the spine, tucking the tailbone and rounding those shoulders forward. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull back. Beautiful. Starting to wake up those abdominal muscles, starting to add some mobility to the spine, letting the body know that we are preparing to work out. Let's go for 3. Last 2. And last one, in through the nose, and exhale out through the mouth. Beautiful. Try to keep this C-shaped curve primarily with the low spine. Now from here, we're actually gonna take that blanket, we're gonna tuck it right as close to the tailbone as we possibly can. And now from here, go back into that C-shaped curve. Reach those arms forward if you like, or forearms one on top of the other. From here, we're gonna lift up tall as we can, flat back. Inhale, lean back. You're gonna feel the low spine press into that pillow or into that blanket. And exhale, lift. Lower. Exhale, lift. Lower. Exhale, lift. Now, as we do this, when I press back onto my pillow, what I want to start to focus on is keeping my spine absolutely flat and straight instead of arching my back over that pillow. Once you start to feel the arch, you're not going to feel very comfortable in your back. You might feel some tension. So just keep that in mind. We're just lowering to put a little bit pressure on that blanket and lifting off. Let's go for 4, 3, last 2, 1, and hold that diagonal. Again, low back against that pillow. Exhale, rotate towards the left-hand side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, rotate to the right-hand side. Inhale, come back to center. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center, pause, hold it here, beautiful. Now, go into a C curve. So round that spine, you're gonna press that low back into that blanket or into that pillow a little bit more. Now from here, we're gonna lift forward and press back. Lift forward and press back, good. So we're strengthening those abdominal muscles, but we're using gravity. As we pull back, we're gonna feel a little bit more pressure, a little bit more of those abs working, and lift. The most important thing is to try to keep that C curve shape from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Let's go for 5. Keep the waist pulling back. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. And come all the way up to seated, reaching those arms forward, shoulders are back. Now from here, press that pillow or press that blanket a little bit further away. We're gonna inhale, reach those arms forward, exhale, pull the waist back, C curve, slowly roll on down, slightly straightening those legs. And I want you to allow your shoulder blades to come onto the blanket or onto the pillow. You can stretch out those legs, reach those arms up and over, giving your back a little bit of extension. And now let's go ahead and roll on up. Reach those arms up to the ceiling, forward to the toes. If you need to bend your knees, please do, and then slowly roll on up. So we're using that blanket as a little kind of pushing or jumping off board, or jumping off point to go in and out of that roll up. I know roll-ups can be really difficult at first. Remember, when you come off of that blanket, come off of that pillow, it's your abs that are helping me do that. Eventually, you're gonna wanna do this without bending your legs, but if you need to, for a little bit of support, you're more than welcome to. Let's go last two. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you're up at the top. Exhale as you pull back. Last full one. Slowly come up to seated. Nice. Now scoot yourself a tiny bit forward, because when we lower back down, we want to make sure that the shoulder blades are a little bit further down onto that blanket. Now, the rule of thumb here is the further up the blanket is on your back, the nicer it's going to feel for the next few exercises. Bring those hands behind the head. Allow your chest to just open as you relax over that pillow. You can straighten your legs, you can relax them a little bit, let your elbows out to the sides and stretch them. Now from here, bend those knees, your tabletop. Your legs are going to be in tabletop in just a moment, but for right now, the knees are bent. Exhale, lift the chest up and forward. Allow that mid-spine to press down. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift the chest. Now, what's happening with your tailbone and your low back? Well, your low back is going to stay in that same neutral position. Your tailbone is going to be heavy to help that spine stay in neutral position, or the low spine. And as you lift, try not to pull forward with the chin. If anything, you want the chin to just come down a little closer to the chest. You're lifting everything from the ribs up and down. Up and down. And the blanket here is just to help you get a little bit more height without straining your neck. Let's go for 5. Last 4. 3. 2. 1. And lower the chest over that pillow. When you're ready, let's bring those legs to tabletop. Exhale, lift the chest, pause, and hold it here. Now from this position, just the left leg is going to lower down. The toes will tap the mat. Exhale, lift. Now right leg lower down. Exhale, tap the mat, and lift. Now, as we're in this position here, if keeping the chest lifted just doesn't feel good for your neck, you can always allow the pillow to come a little higher so that you can press or allow your upper body to lower down. Let's go for 5. Last 4. Remember, it's the thigh bone that's coming away from the body, not an increase in knee bend. Last 3. And 2, and 1, and now hug the knees into the chest. Nice, guys. Now we're going to come back to that same position. So legs in tabletop, hands behind the head. Now from here, exhale, rotate to the left knee as your right leg extends. A little crisscross, and come back. Exhale, rotate, and come back. Good. Now remember, the blanket is just there to give your chest lift a little bit of a boost, so we can focus on getting the opposite rib to the opposite hip bone. Nice, guys. Keep it going. Keep straightening that leg. Now, if keeping the legs in tabletop is just a little too much, I'm going to show you how to modify. Feet down, and same thing. Just go ahead and extend the leg, bring it back down. Extend the leg, bring it back down. So that's a good way to modify. But if your legs are still in tabletop, let's continue for 5. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back in, lower the feet down, allow the head, neck, and shoulders to rest over or on that pillow. Nice, guys. All right, from here, separate the feet slightly, reach those arms up and out, and let's go back into those roll-ups. So hands reach up and forward, lift the chest, and if you can, let's slowly roll on up. Now, if your knees are bent and they're too close to your hips, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So if your knees are bent, have your feet a little bit further away from you. And exhale, pull the waist back. Make sure that your blanket is right underneath your shoulder blades so that you can stretch up and over. Let's go for 3. Last 2. Last 1. And let's come all the way up to seated. And we're going to take that circle and we're going to place it in between our inner thighs. So let's go ahead and I'm going to really tightly roll up that blanket and I'm going to place it in between my inner thighs. Now, like I mentioned before, this blanket is really fluffy, so it also weighs a little bit. That's okay because it's going to be at the base of our legs, not towards the top. So let's go ahead and roll on back down. From here, I'm going to tuck my hands underneath my tailbone to give my low back a little bit more support. Bring those legs to tabletop. Now from here, I'm going to keep my legs bent 90 degrees, and just like we were doing in the exercise previously, I'm going to lower my toes down, barely tap the mat, and lift. Now, if you can't lower your toes all the way down without over bending the knees, then just go down a few inches and that's fine. But I want you to think of squeezing those inner thighs or squeezing that blanket so we can activate the pelvic floor muscles and the low abdominal muscles. Let's go for 5. Last 4. Slow and controlled. 3. Last 2. Last 1. Bring it back. Beautiful. Pause and hold here. Now, the next exercise, I'm going to exhale, extend my legs away, bend the knees, bring it in. Exhale, extend the legs away, bend the knees, bring it in. Now, the higher you extend your legs, the nicer it's going to feel. The lower you go with the legs, the more challenging it's going to be to keep your hips absolutely still. Now, what's happening with your low back as you're doing this? Well, your low back should be pressing down as your legs extend, so we can keep those hips and the pelvis stable. Let's go for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Bring it in and rest the feet down. Good. For just a moment, let's untuck the hands from the legs. We're going to reach those arms up and we're going to go into our hundreds position. So bring your legs to tabletop. Remember, we're squeezing those inner thighs. Press the arms down, lift the chest, pause, hold it here. If you want more of a challenge, you can extend your legs, or to keep it supportive, bend those knees. Now pump those legs, or pump those arms 1 inch up, 1 inch down, not your legs, just your arms. As you inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. To modify this exercise, you can put one hand behind the head, and then just make sure to switch your hands every couple moves. Or you can do this with the head, neck, and shoulders pressing down, because as we know, holding the legs in tabletop is hard enough. So whatever variation of this exercise you choose to do, choose the one that feels good for your body. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And inhale, 2, 4, 5. And exhale. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, last set. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Inhale, 2, 4, 5. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax everything back down. Whew. Nice, guys. From here, let's take that rolled up blanket. We're going to place it, actually, you know what? Leave it right between your inner thighs. Hands pressed down. Feet are hip-width distance apart. I forgot, we're almost forgetting our bridges here. Exhale, tuck the tailbone. Pull those abs in. Slowly lift those hips up towards the ceiling, one vertebrae at a time. Hold it up here. And exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, exhale. Tuck the tailbone, pull those abs in. Slowly lift those hips up. And slowly lower them back down. Now, why should we have the blanket in between the legs here? Well, one of the things I commonly see quite a bit, I would say 95% of the time, is our inner thighs are not engaging as we do the bridge. So what happens if the inner thighs don't engage? The pelvic floor muscles don't engage, and chances are you're not really feeling a whole lot of abdominal work when you're doing your bridge. Also, especially for men, you want to make sure that those knees are hip-width distance apart. We've got to use those inner thighs here, guys. Let's go for 3. Last 2. Good. Last one. Hold it up at the top. Now from here, we're going to exhale, squeeze those inner thighs. Squeeze that blanket, inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze that blanket, inhale, release. So again, focusing on those inner thighs, keeping those hips parallel above the floor. Don't let one hip get more uneven than the other. Also notice, where is your weight? Is your weight more on the right side, more on the left side, or is it dead center, which is where it should be? Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower the spine back down. Very good, guys. All right. From here, we're going to take the pillow now. We're going to tuck it underneath those hips. And from here, bend those legs to tabletop. Reach those legs up to the ceiling. So the further away from your low back that blanket is, the nicer it's going to feel for the next few exercises. We're going to work on that hip stability. Lower those legs down just to where you can. It might only be a few inches for some of you, that's fine. Open those legs, circle them up, and squeeze the inner thighs. And lower, lift, and lower, lift. Good. So as we lift, we're going to circle those legs up to the ceiling and lower down. Circle, lift. Good. So what we're doing here is we're just allowing all that hip joint fluid to move around, really release any tension in the hips this way. Let's go for 4. Of course, we're thinking of keeping our pelvis stable. Last 3. And 2. And 1. And now we're going to reverse that circle. So open out wide, circle those legs down, squeeze those inner thighs, and lift. Open, circle down, squeeze, and lift. Now, similar to abdominal work, we want to keep those abs pulling down the entire time, which is why you don't want that blanket right underneath the low back, or else it's going to be really hard to engage those abs, and chances are you're going to start to feel some pain in the back. So just be very mindful of that. Let's go for 4. Last 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. And bend the knees, lower the feet down. Let's take that blanket out from underneath and let's try to do a roll up. Good. So legs are straight or knees are bent, whatever you need to help you modify. From here, exhale, reach those arms forward, lift the chest, pull the waist back, and slowly come up to seated. Nice, guys. All right, from here, let's actually put the blanket off to the side. We're gonna come onto our hands and knees. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, extend those legs out long. From here, going into our plank position. If for any reason you need to modify, I suggest you put your knees on your blanket, with your knees down into this modified plank position, okay? So if you're here or if you're here, regardless of where your knees are or if your legs are bent, I want your shoulder blades to feel like they're spreading apart. So don't bring the shoulder blades together, spread them apart. Abs are pulled in, tailbone is tucked, neck is long, arms are straight, and we're holding. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower those knees down. Press your hips back, give yourself a child's pose. Beautiful. And now we're going to go into some modified push-ups here. So again, like I mentioned, if your knees feel uncomfortable on the mat, go ahead and place your knees right on top of that blanket. We're going to shift our hips forward so that we have a long line from the knees through the hips to our shoulders. My elbows are out wide. And then from here, bend your elbows, lower the chest down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Pause, hold it here. You need to take a break, press your hips back, go into child's pose. Let's repeat that again. And lower down for 4, 3. Don't lead with the chin. Press that chin back. 2, 1. Hold it there. Nice. We just have one more set. If you're ready, let's go. For 4, 3, 2. Use those chest muscles. 1. And press those hips back. Go into a child's pose. Nice. And from here, exhale, slowly roll on up. Beautiful. All right, let's come up to standing. Okay, so standing, we're going to take that pillow and we're going to place it at the base of our upper inner thighs. All right. So from here, standing up tall with the hands behind the head, take a big inhale, pull those abs in. We're going to lift up and over to the right. And lift. Now squeeze those inner thighs against that blanket. Squeeze it nice and tight. Up and over to the opposite side. Now when you do this, try not to lean back because that's not going to be helpful for your back, and try not to go forward. We're just going to go straight to the side like if we're in between two panes of glass as we squeeze those upper inner thighs. Let's go for 5. Last 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back to center. Now from here, exhale, rotate just the upper body over to the right-hand side. Keep your hips, keep your legs, keep everything from the waist down still. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, rotate. Squeeze those inner thighs. Squeeze against the blanket and come back. Exhale, rotate and come back. Exhale, rotate and come back. You guys got it. Good. So when I do this, I'm not moving my hips at all. And if this position with the shoulders just doesn't feel good, you can do this with the forearms. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Arms down. And now from here, my feet are going to stay in this parallel position. I'm going to reach my arms forward, bend my knees, lower my hips down, and come up. We're just doing a last few little exercises here to really get the whole body involved. So the legs are involved, the abs are pulling in. We're trying to keep our trunk as still as possible. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it here, hold it here. Now just the arms are going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. Keep the front of the rib cage absolutely closed. We're not splaying the ribs open. We're not arching the upper back. So let's go for 5, Last 4. Squeeze that blanket with the inner thighs. 3, 2, 1, and come all the way up. Nice. And last little bit, we're just gonna reach those arms up to the ceiling. Maybe even lift the chest, get a little extension in. And exhale, dive the hands forward. Pull the waist back like your roll up. And instead, we're gonna dive forward and reach the hands down to the floor as much as we can. Squeeze those inner thighs and relax the head, neck, and shoulders here. Gently nod the head yes. Gently nod the head no. Keep the weight forward onto the arches of the feet. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone, slowly roll on up. Stacking everything on top of each other. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Let's try that one more time. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, dive the hands forward. Pull the waist back. Reach down towards the floor. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, bend those knees, tuck the tailbone, slowly curve on up, and roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Very good, guys. You can let go of that blanket. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for our gentle beginners Pilates class using our pillow. Now, once again, if you like classes like this, if you're interested in learning more about Pilates, go ahead and like my video and subscribe to my channel, and maybe even share this video with a few friends you think might enjoy it. For more information on my live classes, don't forget to look at the description box down below. Thank you guys, have a nice day, and I hope to see you in my next class.